All right, that's the Captain Dave. It's a Guide's Life. Still at the trading post, but this is a separate video. Corey was just asking me about fishing lines, and I get this question a lot. There's three types of lines really that matter most, and they have different qualities that you really have to know about. And so the first one is just good old-fashioned monofilament. Monofilament. Trilene. This is XL. I prefer XT. It's got a little tougher surface. This is a little bit better for spinning gear, however. The XL is really good on spinning gear. Having said that, it floats. It floats.
All right, didn't know that.
It floats.
All right.
The reason, when does it matter? It matters if you're throwing a topwater bait, because if you throw a topwater bait and your line sinks, it destroys the effectiveness of the topwater bait. So I like to throw any kind of topwater bait. I'll get 30-pound test monofilament even. And the heavier it is, and you can control, because it floats. You can keep your bait up on the surface.
Okay.
You can use it if you're throwing a crankbait and you only want the crankbait. Let's say the crankbait will dive 5 feet, but you really only like it to dive about 3 foot. Get a heavy monofilament, and the floating line will keep the bait from diving deeper.
So, Dave, is that why you have 50 rods in your boat?
Yes, because I have to have a different kind of line in each one.
That. Yeah,
I like it.
gotcha.
I like
all
it.
right.
Nice,
So,
nicely done.
all right, man.
That was really good.
So what's up with the fluorocarbon?
So
That's my
fluorocarbon.
question.
Now here's
I
the
don't
thing
know
about
what
here's the thing about fluorocarbon. You got a lot of different things that say fluorocarbon. Some are a combination of of lines. They got some fluorocarbon mixed with other fibers and things like that. The gist of this is what you need to know. It sinks.
Oh, it does sink.
It sinks. It's more than that though, because it doesn't refract light. It's almost completely invisible.
Okay.
So if you're in a really clear water environment and you like to have a little bit heavier line, you can usually get away with it. It's also got a lot less stretch. This monofilament, real stretchy. So when you set the hook, the line is going to have a little give to it and stretch to it.
Not gonna put hooks in it like that.
Whereas this, if you got a limber rod and you need a little bit more hook set power, fluorocarbon is going to give you that. You're going to have that ability. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so so it's really invisible and it sinks. Don't use it with your topwater baits because it sinks and it will ruin like if you're trying to walk the
get that
dog
action,
or you got a popper, it'll
Yeah,
start to
gotcha.
sink on you. It's like, why is it sinking all the time? It sinks. All right, it sinks.
Well, you know what I
Just want
mean.
to make sure I'm still recording. Now, the other time, I love,
There you
that's
go, that's
fantastic.
for you.
That's going to go on. Give me two. Give me two. I want to put one on my truck and my boat.
There we go.
Thank you. Now, the other kind of thing here that's so popular and in vogue, of
Every
course, is
guy
Power
out here
Pro.
loves this. That's
Power
why we
Pro,
carry
the
it
green.
here. Yeah,
Now, I
they
usually
love
use the
it.
green, but
I do have.
I don't think, I like the moss green, but the thing about this stuff is it has absolutely no stretch. I have literally wrapped this around my boat cleat and pulled away from a piece of structure to get my bait back because it doesn't stretch and it's so strong. What's neat about it is this is a 20-pound test, but I'm guessing it's probably a 6-pound diameter. I don't have my glasses on.
correct, 6 pounds.
So it's 6-pound diameter, but 20-pound break strength. It's really cool. Now, it isn't quite as invisible. There's a lot of little tricks you can do. You can take a magic marker or a permanent marker, and like on the front 2 feet of your line, where your bait starts, put a little ½ inch of line or an inch line, no line, and dot it, and it breaks up the silhouette and makes it a little bit invisible.
camouflage.
Like camouflage,
Gotcha.
exactly.
Nice deal.
So that's
it. My rep told me that the vermilion red was fading, and they might not make it anymore.
Yeah, well, and that might be, and it's I've not. Some people say red disappears faster underwater, and so that's why people like to go with red lines. I do know that is accurate in that I know red is the first color that disappears in the spectrum as you start to go underwater. But I just use green on everything. It's low stretch. I use it with rattle traps all the time because of the lack of stretch. When I'm trying to jerk it through the grass, it pops through the grass. It comes through. It's so strong. It's so tough. And that's it. You get away with a small. But that's it. If you want topwater baits, you need a floating line, monofilament.
Gotcha.
If you want to if you want your baits to get down, if you want to be able to get away with a little bit heavier line that's a little more invisible, fluorocarbon's the ticket's pricey, and so is this. And this stuff is, like I said, you can pull it your boat on.
Well, that's a big ice fisherman favorite.
Oh, dude, yeah, especially yes, yep, yeah.
Now the thing is, though, now when I know the braided has no stretch, really good. So when would you decide Power Pro, braided, or the fluorocarbon?
Right.
When do you want that?
It's 100% going to be just visibility.
Okay, visibility.
Now, ice fishermen like this because it doesn't freeze like this freezes.
Correct, yeah.
And that's why ice fishermen are into this. They make some ice fishing lines that specifically have coatings to help them keep them from freezing. I will say that this stuff, fluorocarbon, is a little more temperamental. It doesn't cast well on spinning gear, and you know what I mean. And so I would never go more than 8 pound on spinning gear with fluorocarbon.
So will
because it
run up on you?
it wants to
Run
come
up on
flying
you?
off on you,
Okay.
And things like that. So it's a little unfriendly, and it doesn't have much line memory and things like
But
that.
good for a bait caster?
Great for bait casting.
Okay.
Yep. In fact, this is 15 pound. I'll put this on all my bait casting equipment. It's probably as light as I'll go with fluorocarbon. And that's fishing smallmouth waters and whatnot.
Nice.
So,
nice. Now, how about this though? I grabbed some of this, and
Yeah.
I know it's 20-pound test, but 6-pound diameter. And I
Yeah.
had a bait caster, and I didn't
I
like it
wouldn't
being
put
real
this.
thin.
Yeah, I wouldn't put this on a bait caster. This is meant for spinning gear. Now,
So did I do it wrong,
I
Dave?
use 1050. Yeah, you did.
All right,
I
give me
use
one of your 50
I
rods,
use
all
yeah,
right,
that's right. I use 1050 for most everything. It's 10
1050.
pound diameter, 50 pound strength.
Okay.
They also make an 830 that I use on most of my spinning gear.
Okay.
8 pound 30, and Power Pro has been my brand for 8 years.
But you don't like using this on a bait caster?
Oh yeah, I use it all the time on bait
But
casters,
how-
but not this size.
How big? How big do you
I'll
wanna go?
use the 50 pound test. I'll use
Oh,
the
you go way up
1050.
to 50.
Well,
That
it's
makes
1050.
sense.
It's 10 pound test,
50
10 pound diameter.
50-pound
50-pound test.
So at least you get that diameter, so you don't feel like you're throwing a thread out there.
That's exactly.
That's
it.
what I don't like.
And then they'll also make a what is it? Is it 1265?
1265.
Or 1265? And I go as high as the 85 pound break
Oh, nice.
for the flipping stuff on Okeechobee. I told you about the big full tech
Perfect,
stuff
yeah,
where you
awesome.
saw your rods in half if you
Awesome.
don't have an ardent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just said that. All right, anyway, dude.
Hey,
Appreciate it,
thanks a
man.
lot,
Thanks
Dave.
for helping me with the
Appreciate
how-to.
you. Yeah.
Don't say I never gave you anything. Captain Dave, we'll see you later.